Story 1.
My wife ruined our wedding for me. We are lesbians, 26 years old, we met in high school. She's British, I'm Greek. Despite the fact that I have never lived in Greece, I know our traditions and values and wanted to honor my family and Greek friends by adding some touches of that on my wedding. My wife didn't like any of the ideas I presented her with, as she considered everything too old-fashioned or that it didn't match her ideal aesthetic. She also added an extreme amount of rules, and while with some of them I was also on board, others were too much, and I told her that no Greek family member of mine would enjoy or even show up with these rules. Some examples were that people were not allowed to smoke at all at the wedding, despite the fact that our venue would be outdoors, and smokers would be allowed. She banned it. I told her Greek people consider smoking part of socializing if they do smoke, and a great amount of my Greek circle smokes. She also dismissed the fact that I am very family-oriented, and in Greek weddings kids being present is the norm, and I told her I didn't want many kids, but I'd love for my little cousins and nieces to be there, a total of 4 kids, and they're well behaved, and she said no to that too because we're doing it her way. Many of my Greek relatives were displeased with the no kids rule and wouldn't find babysitters because it's not a concept they're familiar with at weddings. That's just how they grew up. And while I realized that we won't invite kids and many people would skip, I realized this mostly affected once again my side. My sister ended up not attending because she couldn't find a babysitter she could afford. I told my wife if we could at least help my sister pay for the babysitter so she can come at the wedding, but my wife said no. She also forbids me from helping my sister out. By the way, my sister is divorced, and her ex is not in the picture at all. We thought it would be a cool idea for our respective bridesmaids to have different colored dresses. Hers would be in emerald green. I wanted mine to be in royal blue, but my wife once again was against it and enforced her own choices. Due to the ban my wife enforced on me not using any Greek traditional elements for the wedding, many of my relatives found it disrespectful and skipped the wedding altogether since it would be a destination wedding and they didn't believe it was worth it to spend all that money just to be disrespected by my wife and her side of the family. Many people from her side ended up skipping as well because of her strict rules, which I do not have enough characters to list. We ended up only having 35 people from the 89 we originally planned on having. And most of them left early too.
Story 2.
Sister is losing her mind over my hair being too long for her wedding. So, my sister is getting married soon, like a couple months. I'm happy for her. The guy she's marrying is a cool enough person and they work well together. She asked me to be a bridesmaid in her wedding party and I accepted. Then she started listing her requirements, some understandable, like wearing longer sleeves to cover up my tattoos. I'm fine with that, but one of them was really weird and felt kind of pointed at me. Everyone in the wedding party must have shorter hair than the bride by at least 6 inches. Now, my hair is super important to me. It's a significant part of my identity and I really love it. It's knee length and I take super good care of it. My sister is to the middle of her back, so about 2 feet shorter than mine. She has longer hair than her friends aside from one who agreed to cut her hair. I did not. My sister freaked out when I said I wasn't gonna cut my hair. I offered to wear it up. She said that would distract people from her and that she wanted all her bridesmaids to wear their hair down. I assured her no one would be distracted because of my hair. Our mother agreed with me and tried to assure her as well. I offered to just be at the wedding instead of in the wedding party, and she began throwing a temper tantrum. Eventually, I just left and said we could figure this out when she calmed down. Later on, I get a call from her fiancé who just says, "Hey, I know you don't want to cut your hair, I'm sorry about that. Could you just do it for your sister? It'll grow back." And obviously I told him, I'm not cutting like half my hair off for one day just to spend years growing it all back out. He sighed but said he understood and apologized, but my sister is still being unreasonable. I'm annoyed by the whole thing, and I really don't want to deal with her shit, if she's gonna freak out about this, I worry what else she's gonna freak out about. Edit 1. So, I got another phone call from my soon-to-be brother-in-law. He was like, "Hey, she hasn't stopped crying for like 30 minutes, can you please just cut your hair?" I told him no, and also that I'd be dropping out as a bridesmaid and just going as a guest. He sighed again and basically said, "Yeah, I kind of figured that would happen. I'm sorry about this." At least he was nice about it, but she keeps sicking this poor man on me, lol. Edit 2. I got a phone call from the bride herself. She was crying and said fine, I don't have to cut my hair or be a bridesmaid, but to please wear it up. So, at the very least she came to some kind of compromise. I think she was expecting me to feel bad and come around, cause when I said, "Dope, I'll just be a guest," then she began crying harder and hung up. I hope it's over. Probably isn't. I'll probably not hear the end of this anytime soon, but at least I can hope that she's given up.
Story 3.
A Bridezilla wanted to throw an engagement party at my home without me there. A few years ago, a very close friend got proposed and wanted to throw a conventional engagement party for around 40 to 50 people. I was her bridesmaid and had a nice party room in my condo that I kindly offered to her for the party, plus all my help in decorating the place and paying the deposit fees. While we were planning the date, she says she wanted in April, by no reason. I told her that any day in April would be fine, except for one Saturday of the entire month of April that I would be away for work. I was free in any other weekends. And all that she said was, "Yeah, it's such a shame that you can't go to my party." This happened in the very early stages of organizing the party, so it's not like she had hired caterers or any other services. At the time I was shocked with her answer, but didn't say anything. I thought that she was going to at least consider moving the party to the next weekend to have me there, since it was happening at my home and there was literally no reason for her to choose that date. It was not a special date for her, none of her guests would be away, no cheaper rates, no weather issues. Yet she was willing to throw the party without her only bridesmaid there. When I was paying for the $300 non-refundable rental deposit fee for the party room, they walked me through my responsibility as a host, and I realized that I couldn't just have 50 unsupervised strangers using my party room without my presence there. I told her, and after throwing a tantrum, she moved the date one weekend up. While she was organizing her wedding, she would cry all the time about how little money she had, and when I offered her alternatives, she was meh about everything and wouldn't accept my gifts because she was begging to more people at the same time and was always vouching for a better offer. I was her bridesmaid in the ceremony and reception a year later after throwing the engagement party, making the invitations the way she wanted, arranging party favors, and so much more stuff. I was very close to the organization of the wedding. And then, by no reason, the bride lied about her honeymoon destination. For months she said that she was probably not going on a honeymoon. I asked her again when I was saying bye at the party, and she said that she was not traveling anywhere. On the next day I found out on SM that her and groom traveled to London. A friend in common thinks that she thought I was going to be jealous of her, even though I have never showed any interest in visiting England. I didn't say anything, but eventually things started to go downhill, and we're no longer friends. She's only friends with richer people that can feel bad for her being broke all the time and spend large amounts of money to pay for the things that she claims that she can't afford.